over the past few years, the Deloitte Fast 50 has named GoCardless. I think it's over the past 4 years.
Yeah.
You've been in there. You've been on that journey and you're now in the global expansion phase. And what are the particular challenges about breaking into those new markets?
There's kind of a challenge to the expansion of us as a company. I think there's a danger that as we go into new markets, you can end up becoming less focused, and you can, end up trying to do something over here and cater for something over here. You've got to be ultra focused on this is our core value proposition, and sure, you need to localize that and make it relevant to the markets you're going into, making sure you're relevant there and you can compete with whoever the local players are, as well as the other global players who are localized into those markets. So for us, we're largely, for example, now focused on invoice payments.
Okay.
When we go into the US is in some ways forward-looking, in some ways strangely archaic. So the majority by quite a way actually of B2B invoice payments. So one company charging another company at the end of the month with an invoice. The majority of those are actually still paid by check. So people literally send a paper check in the mail. Yeah. Which kind of to our ears seems bizarre, but over there that's just kind of commonplace.
Okay.
And so you can imagine the problems with chasing payments and with cash flow that causes. And so actually there's a huge opportunity there.
And do you meet a lot of resistance as you're going after that particular problem? Or, you've said that you've got a good partner now. Is that been your key?
Yeah, so I suppose, we're only just going to the US, so maybe we're only starting to see those challenges emerge. But in other areas, for example, in SEPA, which is the direct debit network across Europe, where it's relatively easy for an end merchant to get access to the SEPA direct debit network, much easier than in the UK. A relatively small business can go to their bank and get access to it. So we are kind of directly competing with the bank in that space.
Right. I think that's something that is, we see time and again in the FinTech space. Sometimes you're wanting to steal from their plate, and other times you're both going to the buffet together because then you can eat more, I guess. So
yes, exactly. And I guess you've got to convince them of that bigger picture.
Yeah.
That as long as they can see that, for example, in the SEPA case, like our aim is that payments, for example, that would previously have gone through other mechanisms, so maybe cards would have been used. We're actually saying direct debit or SEPA direct debit is a much better solution for those. Okay. So the money that maybe Visa or MasterCard would have taken, their sort of cut of it, now we're handing a bit more of that to the bank. We're sort of taking stuff away from, we're giving the bank more
opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So in a way we're giving them more revenue. And it's like, what's that? What's the whole pie? That kind of a bigger picture thing.